Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Simply Cyber's daily cybersecurity threat briefing. First things first, presented by Barricade Cyber Solutions, your partner for incident response, ransomware protection, and business recovery. I'm your host, Gerald Auger, and in the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to be tearing down the top cybersecurity news headlines of the day, getting you prepped, getting you ready, doing your threat intel. You'll be able to either wow them in an interview or just absolutely dominate it at your job. If you're watching on replay, when that clock gets down to 0 in the quarter there, we will be going right into the headlines. But until then, let's say hi to everybody. Had a little bit of a, I guess, what do we call it? Production issues. You know, I can't even see, like, you see how I'm bringing it over and you can see it, like, Restream, guys, we got our audio tight, but now our video's messed up. I can't even, like, when I switch, I don't get the little overlay right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's always an adventure here on Simply Cyber. But good morning to everybody. Hey, Chinri, thanks for sending that stuff over yesterday. That was great. You do get your CPE credits. That's a good point, BSEC. Guys, remember, if you have professional certifications that require continuing education requirements, Simply Cyber gives you 2.5 a week, basically half a CPE per episode. So that's 10 a month. It's 40 in 4 months, which is what most orgs require you to do a year is 40, 120 over 3 years. So if you really want to go the distance with us, you could have Simply Cyber just take care of you from a CPE perspective. All right. Yeah. What's up, Ashlyn? Martin? Oh, yeah. Hey, Paul Cummings. Good to see you. Let me switch over here. I don't have my little overlay, but that's fine. Got the music jamming. Got my coffee going. Super, super excited. Starting the new role. Really diving in to Threat Gen and all the awesome stuff that I'm going to be doing over there. Like, I'm super pumped, guys. Also, spoiler alert, the GRC course is beta public, right? So if you really hunt for it, you can find it, but I don't recommend anyone do that just yet. I've got 5 students enrolled currently, and I am, they've agreed to, be very critical and provide constructive feedback, and with the idea that we are going to make this thing awesome for everybody. I've already put the coupon codes in, so you literally will pay what you can. It'll be inclusive and accessible to everybody, which has always been my underpinning goal, and inspired by John Strand and Black Hill. So good for all of them. Hey, Anna Lynn, Elizabeth, good to see you. Uh-oh. Let me know about the music. Some people are saying it sounds like it's underwater, but that's also, I mean, it is like lo-fi, so I think it's supposed to be kind of like that. Anna Lynn, the link's not available yet. It's going through beta. But just trust me, stay tuned. It's coming. I think it's great. It does have a little bit of rough edges that I'm hoping that my beta testers can help me sand down. All right, looks like we're at time. Drop the music. Oh, see, I like to do that, but okay, hold on a second. Let's get our podcast kind of teed up. Now, guys, remember, if you want to play along, it's same as usual. We will be doing CISOseries.com. That's where we get our stories. Congratulations to David Spark and the gang on their new logo here. How do you enroll in the GRC course? Yeah. So, guys, just with the GRC course, like I said, it's going through beta right now. So it'll be ready probably like in a week. Like, even if it's still in beta, if I get some great feedback, I will adjust it and then make it available. I will make a big splashy promotion, sizzler reel, dropping knowledge, letting people know it's out there. I'll be mentioning it on First Things First every morning. So don't worry. It's not like you missed the 30-second promo ad that I spent the entire budget on at the Super Bowl with a QR code, right? So, or maybe I should do a QR code, have it bouncing around this display right here. I don't know. All right, guys, just stay tuned for that. It's coming this week, all right, or earlier next week, based on the beta testers. But let's get into the top cybersecurity headlines, because that's why you guys are here, besides community, and I love it. Let's do it.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
It's Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. Russia-Ukraine war update. Tech giants continue to unite to take action in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Apple announced that it is pausing all product sales in Russia, ceasing all exports to the country, and limiting its use of Apple Pay and other services. Additionally, predominant Russian media outlets, RT News and Sputnik News, are no longer available for download from the App Store outside Russia. Meta, TikTok, and Google's YouTube have similarly limited access to the Russian media outlets, with Meta confirming Tuesday that it is taking the added step of suppressing the algorithmic spread of Russian state-linked Facebook and Instagram content. Finally, Google announced on Tuesday that it is increasing security measures to help protect Ukrainian civilians and websites, including SOS alerts, automated detection and blocking of suspicious activity, government-backed attack warnings in Gmail, increased authentication challenges, and the expansion of its advanced protection and Project Shield programs.
Wow. Okay, so this is just a continuation of the essentially a kind of controlling and assuring that the media outlets, if you will, that would be used for either propaganda or misinformation or disinformation are kind of limited. Apple going ahead and pausing all product sales in Russia, which is just that's part of like the pariah state situation that the globe is doing to Russia as a country right now. And they're also removing these Russia Today News and Sputnik News, which from my understanding, are essentially the pro regime news outlets for the Russian state or the Russian government, the current Russian government. So not surprising here. Again, like there's this obvious trend of treating the Russian country as a pariah state now, where it's being cut off from global, assets, global elements, right? So like, SWIFT in the financial banking system, getting that cut off, import, export is stopped. Now we're seeing technology being kind of suppressed. And then even it's interesting that they're using, AI, ML, et cetera, to be able to suppress the spread of, viral messaging, right? So if it's getting thumbs up, like by bots or whatever, in order to boost it, that amplification is being manually intervened by the tech companies. So very, very fascinating. Another interesting thing, I don't want to get all conspiracy theory guys on this, right? But I find it not surprising, but I do find it interesting that the flip of the switch capability to suppress messaging is so easily accessible to these tech giants, right? Like, think about it. Like, this one is kind of an obvious example of, we wouldn't want this propaganda, right? Like, a lot of people in the world kind of understand the structure, but like, let's say it's something like much more, gray or less obvious, right? Like, let's say it's, Planned Parenthood versus abortion or something like that, and and you're suppressing one of the sides of that argument or that conversation and amplifying the other one because you can control it, right? Tech is powerful, but it's really in the hands of the person operating the tech, right? And the beliefs of the people operating the tech, right? So it's interesting to note that this capability is basically there. So interesting. I'll just leave it there.
As Russian forces continue their assault on Ukraine, an undercurrent of cyber warfare is also at hand. The barrage of wiper malware that has been observed pummeling Ukrainian networks continues, with a third data wiper behind Foxblade and Hermetic Wiper, tracked by researchers as Isaac Wiper, has been identified being utilized in attacks against an unnamed Ukrainian government network. Isaac Wiper infections followed DDoS attacks against several Ukrainian websites, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Cabinet of Ministers, and RADA. Over the weekend, CISA and FBI warned U.S. organizations that data wiping attacks against Ukraine could spill over into other countries, urging U.S. orgs to increase vigilance and reinforce their defenses. But
yeah, so interesting, not surprising. Again, I do love that. Again, big tech. Here we go. Microsoft's the one chirping in on this, and with their Azure footprint, they can see these things. A third wiper, right? So there was Whispergate, there was Hermetic Wiper, there's Foxblade. Now, they are advising people to be cautious of it spilling over, but I was thinking about this yesterday, guys. These wipers, just so we are all on the same page, right? For those who are maybe new to the field, the wiper malware is absolutely devastating, and all it does is basically like wipe everything off the hard disk, right? Your operating system, your data, all that stuff. Yeah, it's a wicked pain in the butt, and it's super inconvenient, but you can restore. You can restore, right? You can put your operating system back on, you can restore from backup. So it doesn't screw you up that way. But what it does do is take time. It takes time to restore. You got to go get the backups if you have them. You got to, you're down from an operational perspective until you recover. And oh, by the way, you need staff to do the recovery, right? So it's a very disruptive attack. And that's the point of it. Now, I find it interesting that they have, I guess, we're going to go ahead and just loosely attribute this to Russia since they are in an armed conflict at this point, but that Ukraine is getting hit with various versions of wiper malware, very specific to Ukraine. We saw in 2017 with NotPetya, which was also a wiper attributed to Russia hitting Ukraine, that it did spill over, and Maersk, a global transportation giant, was affected by that. I find it fascinating that there has been no mention of any spillover of these wipers. So they're very, very targeted. They're very, very contained, almost like tactical strikes. And I wonder from an operational perspective or a military perspective if that was so intentional to prevent spillover because, once you spill over into another country, you're essentially entering into a conflict with that country as well. So I wonder if it was intentionally very controlled. Just as a quick aside, the way that I have read about at least Hermetic Wiper, the way that it's being deployed is it was already in the system. So essentially, threat actors had compromised the network of this of the businesses or the ministries or whatever where the Hermetic Wiper was running and dropped it everywhere and essentially had an activation switch that they could hit when they wanted in order to execute the wiping of those devices. Much different than like a spray or whatever type attack. So this requires a lot of planning, obviously, and they're doing it this way. So just interesting. It doesn't seem to be slowing down. I mean, I don't see any obvious impact to Ukraine's defense capability because of these things. Of course, I'm not on the ground, obviously, so I might be missing something.
As with the war being fought by troops on the ground, there's another side to the coin as a number of cyber attacks have taken aim at Russian targets. On Tuesday, anonymous link group Network Battalion 65 claims to have compromised the Russian Nuclear Institute and released over 40,000 documents. Network Battalion 65 is asking for support translating the huge trove of documents written in Cyrillic to find sensitive data which could be used in sabotage operations. Anonymous have also claimed responsibility for taking down Russian media sites, including state-owned news agencies TASS and Fontanka, and the daily newspaper Kommersant, which were defaced or temporarily taken offline on Monday. And finally, hackers likely recruited from online forums and endorsed by Kiev officials have claimed responsibility for a cyber attack on the Moscow Stock Exchange, rendering the site inaccessible on Monday.
Wow. I didn't know about that. Guys, this is this is like you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of like a fight where it's like, like a little brawl. I don't know if this resonates with everybody, but like if you've ever been at like a bar brawl or a sporting event brawl for my UK brother friends in chat, right? At a football match. And there's like a bunch of people skirmishing, and then like one person just comes balling in and jumps over and just like throws a haymaker down from the back row into that's kind of like what I'm feeling is going on here, right? We've got these two, nation states battling, and then there's these volunteers, this IT army, volunteer IT army and anonymous and stuff, who aren't taking direction from anyone as far as like what targets to hit or what has military value and what is doing more harm to the citizens than good, or you know what I mean, like doing more harm to citizens than good for the conflict effort. So it is interesting, like taking out the stock exchange in Moscow. I mean, I have to imagine that that's not good, especially considering the ruble has fell like 40 or 50%. Like the ruble is like devastated right now too. So interesting. The stories about them breaking into the Russian Nuclear Institute and dropping 40,000 files. And I guess this institute has to do with the health of the tracking the health of the nuclear sites and stuff in Russia. So there is armament, there is power plants. We know that Chernobyl has been taken by the Russian military at this point. So there's a lot going on with all that. We'll see where this is. This is just like that Conti communication logs dump. This is another huge data dump. Huge data dump, and we'll see where it goes.
Nvidia confirms company data was stolen in hack. Following up on a story we've been bringing you this week on cybersecurity headlines, Nvidia has confirmed that the Lapsus hacking group has stolen data, including employee credentials and proprietary information, during a cyber attack last week and have begun to leak it online. Although the breach occurred a day before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Lapsus denies any affiliation with state-sponsored groups. Lapsus claims it looted 1 terabyte of data and is now demanding a cryptocurrency ransom from Nvidia to keep it secret. The hacking group is also attempting to sell a GPU driver they claim is capable of unlocking Nvidia's Ethereum mining limiter on the company's RTX 3000 graphics cards. According to Lapsus, Nvidia has yet to contact them.
Okay, so this is interesting. Just to recap, Nvidia suffered a cyber attack, I think it was reported on Monday from the Lapsus ransomware group. And then on Tuesday, it was reported that Nvidia hacked back by essentially encrypting Lapsus Group's data and files and systems and stuff, kind of like turn the gun around on them and ransomware their own stuff. But now it sounds like, I don't know if Lapsus had good backups or something, or they didn't encrypt everything. But it sounds like Lapsus is gonna sell stuff. Who knows? This could be a feign, or a bluff for them to try to get some money out of Nvidia. But the fact that they're mentioning this kind of ability to unlock an Ethereum miner thing and all this, and there's specifics here around 30 series firmware and the Falcon driver and stuff like that. So they must have got some stuff. We'll continue to see what's going on, but it sounds like Nvidia is, the fact that they hack back would lead me to believe that they have zero intention of dealing with these threat actors in any kind of kowtowing way of paying a ransom or working with them in any way other than helping law enforcement find them. So we'll see. Nvidia, the graphics card company. I mean, another thing is, think about your audience, guys, right? Like, you steal credit card information, right? Or a data dump of PHI. You could sell that to a lot of people, right? Let's just talk about objectively the market for these things, right? You could sell that to a lot of people. You steal Nvidia's graphics card technology. There's not many, there's only a few players in that market, right? And they probably know each other. And you really want to be who's a good, I guess let's say Intel, right? You want to be Intel and all of a sudden come out with and buy illegal intellectual property from these threat actors, and then hope it never comes out. And then when you release the new Intel Falcon 2 driver card that looks just like Nvidia's, you don't think that that's going to be a problem for you? So I don't know who they plan on selling this information to, but I mean, it's kind of a poor choice as far as selecting intellectual property to steal. But
there are many misconceptions about security automation, so Torq, that's TORQ.io.
Yeah, crypto miners would like to know when they...
Half of employees use unauthorized file services at work. KnowBe4
Only
Research
half?
has issued a new report entitled Shadow IT is Real, which analyzes results of a global survey which focused on the use of unauthorized cloud services and downloading content through unauthorized file sharing networks in the workplace. Alarmingly, the report found that 1 in 2 employees use unauthorized file services in order to get their job done. The report also revealed that Asia and Oceania are regions with the highest rates of using unauthorized practices, while Africa was found to be the best performing region. Finance and tech sectors fared much better compared to lagging industries, which included construction, manufacturing, educational, and government based organizations. Kai Rower, Chief Research Officer at KnowBe4, notes, quote, to combat shadow IT, organizations should focus on strengthening their security culture and increasing employees' level of security awareness, end quote.
Yeah, of course, KnowBe4 would say that that's the solution. That's their business. That's what they sell, is security awareness. The technical solution to solve this problem is called CASB. It's a cloud access service broker. It's a piece of technology that acts as like a proxy in between your end users' endpoints and these cloud systems. And basically, it's called a broker, right? So it brokers that connection and will allow or not allow. The tricky thing is, guys, they said it in the story. Okay, so people using unauthorized shadow IT. So you're a Microsoft Azure shop. You use OneDrive for all your file stuff, but your users also use Google Drive and Dropbox and Box.com, right? Okay, so why are they doing this? It's typically, and they said it in the story, it's typically not because they're like, F the man, F the system, burn it to the ground. I'm using Google Drive because I'm all about it, baby. No, they're doing it because it helps them get their job done. At the end of the day, most end users, they just want to get their job done and get out of work, right? They're not like, they don't care. They don't care. And if OneDrive, in this example, if OneDrive solved their problem and helped them do their work better than the Google Drive or, Dropbox, then they would use it. It's not a personal choice. It's literally because it works for them. Also, they probably have situations where they're it's officially OneDrive, but then they partner with a vendor and the vendor's like, we use Google Drive. And you're like, okay, well, let's just use Google Drive, right? So it does happen. It is shadow IT in the sense. The reason it's so difficult is because all of these services are very ubiquitous. They present the same way to end users, so they don't really think one way or the other or care about it. And with the CASB solution, it gets really tricky. It's easy to say, when you're on this network working from this computer, you can only access this cloud service. That's very easy to control, right? With firewalls and stuff like that. When your end user is a traveling sales guy, or it's Alice in accounting and she's got a mobile phone and loves using her iPad because we've agreed that she can work remote, or COVID happens. Now you've got all these decentralized endpoints on different networks. Do you VPN them, backhaul them back to your main home network and then push it out that way? Well, now you've got to account for the network infrastructure to backhaul them over there, plus the VPN licenses. Can you even handle that? Why not just have them use their own networks and protect the endpoint? And this is part of like why zero trust architecture is a whole thing. But guys, you can't stop me from using my phone on my network going to Google Drive for these things. And that's why education's that's why education's also important for these things. But you just got to be aware of it. By the way, I've seen CASB try to be implemented twice. It's it's not as ridiculous as DLP, which will never work anywhere, but it's up there as far as like very difficult to implement in a correct way and not have the business absolutely groan and ultimately roll it back. I don't know. Anybody in chat try to implement a CASB successfully? Anybody in chat try to implement a CASB and have the business give you the Heisman? Stiff arm you. No, thank you.
Biden address pushes for strengthening children's privacy. In his State of the Union address on Tuesday, President Biden urged Congress to strengthen children's privacy, an issue that Congress has repeatedly pressed with tech giants in recent months. The speech grouped the initiative into 4 distinct calls to action, including banning targeted advertising for children, prioritizing safety design standards for online platforms, stopping discriminatory algorithmic decision-making, and investing at least $5 million in fiscal year 2023 toward research on social media's effect on mental health. Congress has already floated several pieces of legislation that could work towards the initiatives outlined in the president's speech. NIST seeks feedback focusing on supply.
Okay, so this is great. And by the way, like when we say children, let's define that as any individual under the age of 18, right? So, a lot of times when you say children, you think, 5-year-old or whatever, but It is the entire span up to 18. I do appreciate this. I think it goes beyond just privacy, right? Uh, there's a lot of targeted ads. There's a lot of, we've seen suicide rates go up a bit, mental health numbers go up because of just the image and the projection that, platforms like Instagram and TikTok and such push down as what are societal norms and expectations. I do appreciate this. Also, I don't know if anyone in chat's got kids, but like I have kids and like Roblox rules the day, right? Minecraft is in the mix, but Roblox is kind of where the jam is. And if there's anyone being predatory up in Roblox or anything like that, you sure as heck I don't want that. I want my kid to have good experience, but like at the same time, I don't want it to be this breeding ground for creeps. So I appreciate that this is at least at the presidential levels radar. And it sounds like Congress has made efforts at this. This is the social media and the distribution of content generation to the masses in kind of a decentralized format is not going anywhere. If anything, it's going to increase as this generation that is coming up on all this tech, face on iPad for Zoom schooling and stuff, as they come up into adulthood, it's going to become more mainstream, more prevalent, right? So getting these guardrails in place now, I think, is quite important. And I hope something comes of this, frankly. Although with the way that most things move at the U.S. federal level, my kids' kids will be the ones benefiting from this. But I digress.
Chain risk. The National Institute of Standards and Technology is seeking feedback on how it can enhance its framework for improving critical infrastructure cybersecurity.
CSF.
In its RFI on February 22nd, NIST stated it is seeking help evaluating and improving its framework with a focus on addressing supply chain risks. In parallel, NIST announced it would launch the National Initiative for Improving Cybersecurity in Supply Chains, or NIICS, to address cybersecurity risks in supply chains. NIST indicated the RFI responses, which are due back by April 25th, quote, will inform a possible revision to the cybersecurity framework as well as the NICS initiative, end quote.
All right. So let me see this really quickly. How do I get rid of this? Oh, I wish I could. It doesn't give me, hold on. I just want to block, how do I, yeah, sorry. I'm just taking care of one of these chats. Get out of here with this. Just trying to take care of one of these comments. So, okay, guys, NIST cybersecurity framework. You know it. I know it. We love it. If it wasn't so weird, probably would have named one of my kids NIST CSF. The missus wasn't down with that, but that's okay. When they released version 1, it was awesome. They updated it and specifically added a supply chain category to the framework. That was the big change when they went to the next iteration. It sounds like, again, because like we just saw Toyota get hosed by supply chain. We see supply chains everywhere right now. The world is interconnected. NIST is seeking guidance on the framework, but it sounds like it's specifically centered around the supply chain. I will tell you guys, this is an opportunity for public service, okay? If you use the NIST CSF specifically at your organization and you do some supply chain stuff, whether you work directly in logistics and shipping or you work in manufacturing, so you have things coming in and products going out. If you use the framework, I would implore you to check out this request for information right here. You can get this from somebody. I think one of the mods drops this story in chat. Guys, I did this when it went from version 1 to 1.1. I actually went to Washington and was part of a work group that sat for 2 days. Talking about the framework and like pros and cons and how it worked and some areas that could be improved and all this other stuff. And it was wildly productive. And NIST is legit asking for practitioner experience and knowledge on the application of this framework to improve it. Guys, it's a volunteer-based framework that's used worldwide. I personally love it. And the fact that NIST is all about continuing to improve it, make it useful and effective for all kind of situations is absolutely wonderful. So if you do have any feedback or an opportunity, please consider contributing either in written statement or in person when they have the working groups.
Colonial Pipeline hires a CISO. Colonial
Yeah.
Pipeline, victim of the now infamous cyber attack that resulted in disruption to fuel supplies in the southeastern U.S. back in May 2021, has named Adam Tice as its first ever Chief Information Security Officer. Tice developed expertise in navigating post-data breach environments when he joined Equifax as the Senior Vice President of Cyber Operations after their 2017 incident. Earlier in his career, he worked as a consultant at cybersecurity consulting firm Mandiant and as a defense contractor at Lockheed Martin. And that
Okay. So, all right. So Colonial Pipeline. Let's see. Let's see. They were hacked in summer of 21. So it's March. So it took them 9 months to hire someone. I'm not going to get on them about that. Hiring cycles are hard. Right now, there is a talent shortage in cybersecurity. Oh, let's get the emotes going about how frustrating that statement is. Here's the deal. This guy, basically he comes in after the fact and helps straighten things out, clean them up. Good for Colonial Pipeline. If they were to suffer another attack like that and not be prepared, hot mess on fire. The problem is you could bring in anyone and, well, I shouldn't say that. Listen, here's the deal. This is a reality. Take this one down. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, I'm about to pull the curtain back and share this with you. Here's the deal. Most organizations will pay pennies for information security, cut corners, not hire staff, make it a shared responsibility for IT before they get breached. After they get breached, blank checks all around. You get a blank check. You get a blank check. Let's hire everyone. What do you need? Best solutions, no problem. Unlimited budget, no problem. Like, it's so funny. People will spend 4x, 6x of what they would have spent if they had just implemented it in the first place to protect themselves from attack and for minimizing the impact and the blast radius of the attack that inevitably happens, right? So I'm sure, with all due respect, good for Adam Tice, right? This guy's probably making fat bank. He probably got to give his number, and they probably said, absolutely, whatever you want. But, it's just, it's sad. It's sad. He's going to run into a problem where they're going to have antiquated industrial control system and operational technology all up and down that pipeline. That's going to take years and lots of money to repair. Now, I suspect that the money part's not going to be an issue anymore, as I just covered. But the time to make the change is going to be, quite involved. And by the way, guys, like, I'm sure there's like Windows XP systems, like those happen. So, best wishes to Adam on his role, and good for Colonial Pipeline. It's good. It's a good feel good story. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode of First Things First. Just want to remind everybody, tomorrow is cybersecurity stream day. It is turned into. We've got Josh Mason doing Java with Josh in the morning, dropping hot AMA takes. Okay, so let me just lay the schedule out for you. If you want, I'll tell you this, but then you can go to Cybersecurity Central on LinkedIn. Kimberly and Michelle do a fantastic job of curating the agenda for the week, but also really on Thursday. So we've got Java with Josh in the morning. Then you've got First Things First with me at 10 a.m. So if you enjoyed this particular stream, come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bring a full cup of coffee because it's going to be spicy. Then we have Jack Scott and Outpost Gray. She's typically around 3 p.m., I think. And then at 4:30, two thumbs and a smile, this guy is going to be talking about the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, the cyber activity analysis. I've started pulling together resources, guys. It's going to be apolitical, so don't try to bring any heat about right and wrong and all this other stuff. It's literally just looking at the technical execution of these attacks and the operational value and impact of the attacks, right? So we're talking about the obvious ones, right? Distributed denial of service attack, wiper attacks. We'll move into how Tinder can be used for blowing up someone's operational security. We'll talk about how Google traffic and Google Maps can be used. Obviously, track. We can use. There's all sorts of stuff, guys. It's not just about that. We've seen maritime, the World Maritime thing, tracking super yachts fleeing Russia. So it's really interesting. There is a lot of cyber elements to it. This is the first real conflict in the modern era where cyber is, air, land, sea, space, cyber, right? It's its own, I don't want to call it battlefield, but I guess it kind of is. It's its own capability. And it's this is an excellent opportunity to study that. I'll be joined with Chip Harris, who has experience in the field as an operator, and we'll be going not really back and forth, but we'll be covering all these different things and talking about that. So I hope you can join us. Obviously, it's a very timely, relevant topic, so that should be good. All right, everybody. This has been, Simply Cyber's morning cyber threat briefing. Thank you to our sponsor, Barricade Cyber Solutions. Be sure to check them out. There's a link to their website in the show description. And so that'll do it for today's episode. Be good, everybody, and we'll see you on Thursday. Cheers.